welcome to Fish on Fridays. I'm Al McCauley, and today I want to talk to you about another great piece of art. This one comes from a painter named Orazio Borgianni, and it's a beautiful painting called Christ Among the Doctors. Now, the word doctors might throw some of you. You have to understand that doctors, in the time when this was painted, comes from the Latin doctorus, which means learned ones. That's where we get, like, if you're a PhD or a doctor. So the word doctor in this case means Christ among the scholars. And what it alludes to is that Bible passage that we get from Luke's Gospel. It's chapter 2, verses 41 to 52, where Jesus is in the temple. When he's 12 years old, you may remember this story, that Mary and Joseph are in Jerusalem and they're on their way back north, back home to Nazareth, and they can't find Jesus. And they go back to the temple and they see he's there among the learned scholars of the day, and he's talking to them about the law and the prophecy, etc., at the age of 12. This is a great reading, by the way. We hear this every third year in the lectionary cycle, which repeats every 3 years. We hear it on the Feast of the Holy Family. That's the Sunday after Christmas, every third year, when we hear Luke's Gospel proclaimed. So in cycle C, which is the third of the three cycles, A, B, and C, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So it's a wonderful story. We all know it. Just as an aside, and I don't want to forget this little tidbit because I think it's fascinating to think about this. In 2012, this painting sold, believe it or not, for a whopping $4.25 million. I was just this close from buying it. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of money. But anyway, this is a great painting, and it depicts Jesus as a young, as I said, a 12-year-old man. He's beardless, he's young, and he's doing two things with his hands. He's gesturing both to the scriptures, to the Bible, and to his heart, to himself, as if to say, I am the one that fulfills everything that you know about the law. He's telling these scholars of the law, of the prophecy, I'm the one who is going to be the fulfillment of all of this, of all that you're longing for, the Messiah, etc. I think it's fascinating that the artist has drawn him or painted him in two different colors, two distinct colors, red and blue. Red, of course, is a color of blood and sacrifice, and we all know that this is going to foreshadow Jesus' suffering and death on the cross. But it's also in blue, which is the color of the heavens. It's the color of divinity and proximity to the divine. So it gives you a sense of who Jesus is in terms of he is two natures, that he's human, he will bleed, he will die, but he's also divine, he's also God. And I think it's fascinating to look at this painting. And if you look at all the elders, all the scholars, the doctors that are portrayed, they look rather chaotic. They form like this ring of chaos around Jesus. And they have, some of them look skeptical, moving their spectacles to make sure they're hearing this young man correctly. Some of them look confused, some in disbelief, but there's this overarching, almost like this chaos about them, not knowing what to make of this young man and how to understand him. All the while, he is calm. Jesus' face is very serene. He's very calm in pointing out the reality of the truth, that he is the way, he is the life, and he is the truth. And it's fascinating to think about that. He comes across with this kind of a gentle authority. He's not finger wagging. He's not, pontificating. He's just being very calm and very serene in how he's explaining who he is, and that he, again, is the fulfillment of everything that they hope for and everything they long for. Everything, quite frankly, that their lives have been about as scholars of the law is pointing to him. But, despite his calmness, he's not backing away either. He's not cowering in fear. He's not backing away from any challenges. So he's confident in who he is. And that's one of the reasons I love this painting, is it shows Jesus in so many different moods almost, and so many different temperaments relative to those around him. And it's interesting because that's going to happen in his ministry too. How many of the scholars, the Pharisees, are going to react very emotionally to him, and he's going to maintain calm throughout all his ministry. I think if there's a lesson that I would take from this, I always like to look for some kind of lesson, how we can apply these wonderful pieces of art to our lives. I would say, true authority really is about engaging people. It's not finger wagging them. It's trying to meet them where they're at. And that's what Jesus does time and time again in his ministry. He meets sinners where they're at. He meets tax collectors, the woman at the well. He goes to where people are at and says, you belong. And by virtue of that belonging, their behavior and their belief changes. And I think sometimes we've got it backwards where we say you have to believe and behave a certain way in order for you to belong. And Jesus is saying, no, true authority comes from how we engage with people. And in this painting, you see young Jesus, at the age of 12, engaging the scholars of the law about the prophecy and about himself relative to it. So there you go. Another great, wonderful piece of art for you to think about, consider, contemplate, perhaps take to prayer. But if you want to share this content, that'd be great. We'd love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. But either way, we hope you keep tuning in every Friday for Fish on Fridays. Until next time, please be good to each other and God bless.